Hello, you're watching Bearwood West Yard. In this video I'm going to be bringing you the unboxing of the Dapol MRA Wagons in Network Rail yellow livery. I've covered over my address using some sticky notes for obvious reasons, as I don't want anybody to know where I live. On my computer, as can be seen, is an image of the generator wagons in a 5-car MRA wagon set. This is provided by a database called ukrailwaypics.smugmug.com. This is a database of locomotives and wagons that all run on UK metals. I find this a great website to find out what weather variations of stock and locomotives look like, because this can then be recreated in model. So I would highly recommend taking a look at that website. I've unboxed the wagons from the parcel that they came in. As you can see, they're all packaged up in there still. This is actually second hand, as quite a lot of my new wagons are, including the DB Schenker BRA steel hood carriers. Those are all second hand. These came from a model railway trading group on Facebook. Although sometimes sellers can't be trusted, you can always find sellers that are very reliable and that are great. So thank you to this seller, and let's get unpackaging it. Right, so I've taken the box out of the parcel, and so far I've only got some of the bubble wrap left on it. Already you can tell that Dapol have done a great job with their packaging, as always. They're quite nicely packed up there, quite nice and tight in the polystyrene. I'm filming on an iPhone, so it takes a little bit of skill. Quite nice and smug in there. It can also be seen, I don't know if you can see it, I can see it, there is actually a plastic cover on top of the wagons beneath the actual box itself, which gives it that extra bit more protection, of which, as I will now take the top of the box off, you will see. So, as you can see, there is another plastic bit. This is actually really good because it makes sure that none of the components that come out of it, such as the detailing pack and the drawbar, make sure that none of them fall out in transit, which can sometimes lead to a bit of a panic as to where they are. It also means that the wagons themselves don't fall out of the packaging, although they're highly unlikely to, considering how tight the polystyrene actually is. I have unboxed this before I started videoing, and that was mainly to see that everything was okay, considering that these are second-hand models. It should also be noted that when you take the models out of the box, there's a sheet of really nice fine paper underneath that's got all the detailing instructions on it. This includes the locations to get the MRAs to actually tip, which is a brilliant function. It doesn't actually tip fully from when it's been running. That has to be done manually, of which isn't that great, but considering the fact that you've even got the tipping feature on there, I think it's something that you can let Dapol off for, considering they've done that. So there we have it, where some of the detailing parts go, and the drawbars as well that are included in the detailing pack. I have unboxed two of the wagons. The first one is one of the end wagons, which has the buffers on it. This is the generator vehicle, or an MRA-D, as seen on my computer screen barely a few moments ago. As can be seen, the frame itself is actually relatively light and can be moved it's very light, so you have to be very careful with it. And then the boxes themselves are actually where the wagon gets most of its weight from. And as can be seen better from this wagon, it's quite weighty. The side actually comes down as well for the wagon to tip. So if you want to do a realistic scene where you've got engineering work on your layout and you want to have an MRA that's tipping, it's absolutely great. It works and it looks great. Next to it I have an MRA F, which is one of the 3 wagons in the middle of the end wagons that is sandwiched, and it's basically just a standard MRA. The included in the pack is the MRA E, which is pretty much the same as the MRA D here, except it doesn't have the generator on it. It's pretty much a cross between the D and the F. It's not until you actually see the wagon close up that you can admire the detail that's gone into it. So you can see that on the generator vehicle, which is the MRA D, you can see that there is quite intricate steps for network rail personnel to go and operate the generator, so turn it on, turn it off. And there's also numerous pipe work as well that has been recreated, and it's so, you could look at a photo like I had up on my computer screen of the MRA D, as I've previously mentioned several times now, and you can barely see any difference in the actual location of them, and also the writing as well. So some of the warnings, the curve radiuses, and that you can just see on them that it's just the same, and it's absolutely great. And then moving on to the F, not much difference between the 2 wagons, other than the fact that as this one is a non-generator vehicle, it doesn't require steps. And I believe that in real life, the network rail personnel, or previous to that rail track, would have used a controller to control the boxes and the which way that they tip, so that the ballast doesn't go accidentally onto the wrong line or into the cess, which could be quite embarrassing. Anyway, we'll now take a look at the boxes themselves. These are the front boxes on the wagon, and you can tell that because it's got the wagon code and identity on it, so all the relevant information on it. Again, that is very prototypical of the real wagons. One of the things that gets me quite a lot, and in a good way, is the fact that all this detailing on that for the hydraulic gear, it's just amazing how that has been recreated. I don't know if that's in focus, should be now. So as you can see, if you haven't got one of these, I believe they've now been discontinued by Dapol. I don't know whether that's true or not. That's just going by from what I've seen in the past month, where looking on Hatton's Model Railways, with which are based in Liverpool, the largest model shop in the UK, they've gone from about 9 in stock down to 2, and they still haven't replenished. So, and looking at the Dapol website as well, it does not seem as if they've got any more in stock. And the same with the JNA Falcons, which are also network rail bogie ballast wagons, of which I currently have 4, and Dapol are releasing a further 4, of which I may take some interest into. So stay tuned for that further video, of which could be anywhere up to the next year or so. Anyway, I'd just like to hope that you enjoyed watching this review. It's the first review I've done, so can you cut me some slack if I have been a bit beginnerish, as I am a beginner. So anyway, where was I? Thank you very much for watching, and hopefully I will see you in the next video.